record. Cool. So today's the last class before, October 8th is the deliverables. So I was writing this stuff up in the Discord server and I posted an announcement in class. All right. But I posted up here in Canvas as well. So we have 3 projects, so each is a third of your class grade. Each project, right now I'm going to test 80% is your actual project deliverable, and then 20% is your feedback to other students. And we're going to test at giving feedback at 4 other students, so 5% per student. So what will happen is you will post up here by the end of Friday's class, which is Friday at 2:20. So you'll have during the class period to finish your project. Right now, we just have one student who wishes to present. It'll take about 5 to 10 minutes. And the point of presenting is that not only do you get experience with public presentation, which I'm telling you, it's going to be good in the long run, because you just have to get over those nerves, because it's better to do that in college and make your mistakes there and learn from them, because you're going to have to make these mistakes and learn anyway, no matter what field, no matter what aspect of the tech industry you get involved with. You're going to have to present either stand-ups, there's retros, there's reviews, and even just straight up programmers or designers or whatever field your pursuit you do, you're going to have to present your work and defend it, even if it's just straight code or even if it's design work. So like, it's just, it's not required. It's just good practice, because I'm telling you, just this is one of those skill areas. They call them soft skills, but they're not. They're very vital. Soft meaning they're not the hard technical skills. So anyway, if you wish to do a small presentation, the benefit is the experience, which is for you. But also, if you want to get like just a lot of feedback, just you're going to present your project, and people are just going to open mic and just give you feedback. So let me know. Right now we have 1 student, but the rest of the class is just going to be work time. All right. But what you're going to end up doing is you're going to post a reply here, and that reply is going to be cleaned up. It's going to include a written description of your features along with screenshots. All of the text and images will be added directly into the posting. So text, and if you need to do hyperlinks to anything, which in this case will be the Webgl Build, or the Google Drive link to your Windows build, and it will be a link to your YouTube video, your walkthrough video, which I'll get to that stuff in a minute, but that's a hyperlink, and then insert image to upload your images. And the one thing to be aware of with that is you can edit the size of it later. So let me see if I can quickly just find an image. Whatever, baby photo, that'll do, whatever. The point is that it's very easy to submit, and then you kind of have to review it. You open up this window. So even if you have all your stuff in a Google Doc, do not just upload a PDF or link to a Google Doc. It's really annoying to go through. It's hard to deal with, and especially when you have other student reviewers looking at it. Like, you need a good presentation. Spend some time building it and cleaning your presentation. Again, it's another really good industry skill set that you're going to need. So anyway, I imported the image, and it looks like they're little interfaces. Oh, nice. It's a lot better now. Image options, right? So aspect ratio will be preserved. That's good because whatever. It's a portrait or orientation. Like I spent some time with this image, built it, found it, whatever. But the aspect ratio is important. But you can just edit one number and shrink it down. Is what I really wanted to show you. It's a common situation. Is that so? It was at like 684. This is kind of having it a little bit. Make it a little bit smaller. It's fine. But this don't have these huge images, right? You're gonna have a whole big chunk of text. You're gonna be talking about stuff, and then maybe you want to show, oh, this is a screenshot from the game, from Unity, from whatever. This is a piece of concept art. This is what I was trying to get toward my game, and then you insert in an image and you keep going. Um, and then this is how you're gonna build your. So you have your Webgl or Windows link, right? Here's a link. You can just click this and link it, paste in the link, right? It's pretty straightforward. The one thing I want to show you is that resize your images. It's really easy. And you're going to have to do this as you're building out. Everything got to look good, right? But you can, even after you post it, if it doesn't look right, you can edit it. So this is part of your grade too. If it's really annoying to read your posting, your deliverable, if it's hard to understand, if it's just not presented well, it's going to affect your grade. So spend some time with laying out your deliverable posting. All right. And just write about the feature and put in some screenshots. And I'm not doing this min and max, this and that. Like just write enough so that people can understand what it is you made. Make sure it's just clear. All right. So let me just see if I can delete it. So that's words and images. And think of it like a dev blog, like get inside your head. Like, what did you make and why? And how did it go? And like, just give us a roadmap, give us a journey of what you went through this last month and what you end up with. What is it that we're looking at? Now, part of these links is going to be a walkthrough video. So showing the state of before, showing the state of after, explaining what you made and why you did it, and how does it improve the game mechanics or the fun factor or whatever. Even if it's just something really simple, even if you were just learning about materials and meshes and shaders and animation or something, you just change something. It's like I really wanted to increase my understanding of how content is put together for a 3D game, and I really wanted to. I really have an interest in environment art, and I really tried to improve the trees or something. Like just give a walkthrough. So in that state, so OBS Studio, my computer might spaz out a little bit because this is a screen sharing software, and I'm currently sharing my screen and recording it. So if things go bad, I'll just reset, but things look pretty good. So OBS Studio, it's free. I just use it because I just stumble upon it and it's free and it's really robust. Windows and Mac. There you go. That's how you download it. So normally what happens is when you start it, you just delete this and delete that. Normally it looks something like this, all right? Like you don't have any sources. So when you first start it, oh, there'll be like a wizard when you first start it. You can make your choices and set it up. And if you're wrong with that, it's okay because you'll still be in this type of situation. So sources. First off, what do we what video are we capturing? So normally I just do a display capture. I have a few different monitors. You can pick the monitor that you want. Or if you don't wish to record the whole screen, you can select Windows or app capture. So in your capture the cursor, I usually leave that on. All right. So if you didn't want to record different parts, like, oh, I don't want to reveal some of my user interface, there is a way to recapture just parts of your display, but this is just resizing it. Yeah, the rest of this you don't have to worry about. The only other capture method I was going to talk about was window capture. If like you only want to capture one window, be it your Unity or your window or your Chrome, just playing one tab of it, you can just do that. I don't do that because I'm jumping between the web browser and Unity and another thing and this and that. So I just do display capture. But you have some choices to capture video. Now, this is what you see. Looks great. You know, we're getting this kind of a mirror within a mirror within a mirror because this is what I'm actually capturing of this. But normally you move this over to another monitor and capture another monitor, or you hit record really fast and then you just minimize this, and then whatever, it just has that weird thing at the beginning in that, but it's just for a split second. Your choice. So next, audio source. So that's the microphone. I'll click that. That's great. So if you have a few different ones, all right. My Realtek audio is my audio card. So here, desktop audio is stuff that's playing out from what you're recording. So if like sound is important coming from Unity, you would turn this on, and you would, as you click play and you run Unity, you'll see the little sound bar going up and down like it's recording whatever's coming out of Unity. In this case, I'm just recording my microphone, right? And so this shows you that your audio is working. Always do little test videos before and play them. Make sure the video and audio are good before you do like a long video. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. If you have multiple sources coming in, you could turn some off. And also, if your audio is like peaking out really loud beyond this yellow, you can just ramp it down if you want to. All right. That's audio. With these two sources together, you should be good to go. The next thing to understand is that when you want to start recording, you hit this button, and this button will switch to stop recording. While you're recording, you hit it again to stop, and it'll create the video for you. Now, some settings to look at. So where are you generating your videos to? Output. I'm going onto the D drive because my C drive is small and it gets filled fast. So this is the folder it goes to, and it just like creates a video with a timestamp as the name. I'll just overwrite the timestamp and give it a custom file name when I'm done. All right. So recording format, I think it defaults to FLV. It's like a flash video. It's like, I think it's just like alphabetical, and it picks this one because this is like obsolete. MP4 is usually the best. You get high quality with a good compression rate. So I just choose this one. Like I want some compression. I don't want this like insanely high file size. Right? And hardware encoding, whatever. You can choose different encoders and test videos and see what you get. But the point is location and the type of video, which is MP4. And I think with that, yeah, I mean, you can look at the video, like whatever. This is a standard HD resolution. That's fine. And 30 frames per second is standard. I wouldn't go any crazier than these settings. And I'm not streaming. I don't need to look at that. Audio, I don't really care. Default settings are fine. And if you have any issues, I would do some test videos now, and then on Friday you can come in if you have. So that's screen recording. So you can just go into Unity, or you can run your Webgl builds or your Windows builds, or run stuff right out of Unity. Or even if you're explaining your project, you might even be like showing off some like other YouTube videos of like professional gaming projects and be like, oh, this is where I got my idea for this feature, and this is why I tried to build it. Like you could show whatever just to explain, you know, what you made and why. Also, if you want to post up some other links to be like, hey, look, this is where I got my inspiration from. This is a AAA game. Here's a gameplay video of it from YouTube, so you understand where I was inspired from. Right? So we covered this. We covered that. Is there any questions so far? All right. And then we have to go into Unity and cover WebGL and Windows. But before I do that, so you will post up all this information into your reply by Friday at 2:20. And what will happen is, based on who posted up here, I will go assign, be like, oh, okay, I have X amount of students who actually posted up a project. Now I'm going to go distribute for those who actually posted and who are active in class. I will go randomly assign you 4 other students who are active and posted in the class forum. And then I asked, that will be all done. I will know who did what. I will gather everything. You'll get an email. Basically, everyone who was active and posted up in here by Friday at 2:20. Later on Friday, you'll get 4 emails, one per each student I want you to review. You'll get 4 Google surveys. And so then you go, oh, I have student X. You go into the deliverables forum, you go find that student, you go read their posting, click on other links, watch their walkthrough videos, play their games, and then you fill out the survey. And the survey is going to be a mixture of what they call Likert type questions. So, like on a scale of 1 to 5, how much did you like this or that or whatever? And then there's going to be open-ended responses. Like, why did you like? There's going to be like different sections of the survey. One about the overall gaming experience, one about the mechanics, one about this and that. And you're going to fill out a bunch of those questions, and then there'll be an open-ended response. Like, why did you fill out the responses like you did? Like, write a few paragraphs about your thoughts of why you filled out these questions this way for this project. And it's those open-ended responses that are going to take you the most work. You know, you're going to have to sit there and review the student's project and then think about what you just played and what do you think about it? Was it some quality execution? Did it actually impact the gameplay or whatever? You know, you basically are acting like how a teacher or myself would look at projects. So you have to put some critical thought into constructive criticism. And it's those open-ended questions of your survey that'll be really what your 20% will be rated on. Like, did you actually put critical thought into reviewing 4 other student projects? And each of those 4 reviews you give out, based on how strong your critical thought was, will get that 20%. And those reviews, I didn't write it up here, I don't think. Right there. Maybe I gotta go write that after this class. So I can say deliverables to 10/8 at 2:20 p.m. And I'll just make another. Student feedback is due by. I'm going to give you till, I think I wrote in Discord that the following Wednesday, because you're going to have to take your time with it. Like you're not be able to speed through 4 people. Grading is a slow process. So what you thought about it, getting that feedback, it's, trust me, through, as I've graded a lot, it's very time consuming to put that thought in. So why don't we say 13? And then at one, it has to be due before that class, because we just go into class. All right, so I'll remind everyone, but just know that you know, you'll have that weekend, and then you have the beginning of this week here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like a half day and a half day. So like 5 days. You have 5 days to work on it. And don't say store it to the end, because I'm telling you, it takes time. So I'm giving you 5 days to review 4 student projects. All right. And then you do the survey and you click submit, and it'll come back to me. So I know when you're actually done with the surveys. They all have to be done by this date. So again, you need to submit something. There's no late work. The reason there's no late work is because you have to learn how to just deliver with a date. And I'm being flexible, like that's why I really gave you the ability um, to stretch your goals, or to kind of rescind your goals, kind of pull back, push out, or push in, based on how much you get done over the course of the project. So there's something, you're ready to deliver something, even if it's smaller than what you thought. You just need something, and something is due this Friday, and then you review 4 other people's something by the following Wednesday. And I only grade up stuff that's up to this day in time, because I turn around and I send out the feedbacks. So unless you have a letter from the dean of students, you need something in your forum posting at this day and time. Otherwise, I can't grade it, but 80%. And if you're not active, I can't give you other students to get feedback on, because you didn't deliver anything. I can't actually assume you're going to deliver on the feedback either. So you need to deliver something, and then you need to deliver your feedbacks. You'll be graded on them by this date. All right, same structure, same style. You have 5 days for that. Just start chipping away at it. And don't, it's not like, oh, it's an hour before Wednesday class and you go through and you just give everyone 5s on their survey, and you go into the open-ended question, say it was awesome. Like, you're not going to get your 20% with that. Right? So does this all make sense? Any questions? So this, what you are expected to do and will be graded on this Friday, and then this coming Wednesday after that. Is everyone good? All right. So feel free to say something or write in the chat if you want any type of additional instructions. But we're just going to deliver, give feedback, and we move on. And then once you deliver and give feedback, you can start thinking about project 2. And it's the same cycle. And you want to build out more of your idea based on feedback, hey, that's great. Or if you were like, wow, that was interesting and I learned some stuff, but you know what? I'm ready to try something else for project 2. That's great too. All right, so let's talk about building. So let me just make sure that my audio mixing is for Unity is turned off so I don't kill my ears. Yeah. I'm just gonna click play. So since I actually did something, I added a jump to this. This is what I'll be building because now I have a before and after. Yep, still has the jump going. Cool. All right. So I'm all happy. Things look great. Build settings. So I'm currently defaulting to PC, so I'm just going to build that first because it's a slow process to switch platforms. So since this game project was provided to me, the build settings are kind of set up. Remember, this one has 4 game scenes, which is great. Your projects might have one, might have a few. At least one you need to drag in here and turn it on. All right, whatever it is that your game scene is. In this case, we have an intro, or main, win and loss. All turned on. That's great. I just play tested it. It looks good. This icon is here. It means I'm building for Windows. I'm on a Windows, which is why Mac doesn't appear. I guess you can build to Linux from Windows and Mac, but I'm not sure if on a Mac you can build to Windows. I think you can, but it looks like you can only build a Mac on a Mac, just the way their ecosystem is. But we are building for Windows. I'm gonna. I don't know why it's defaulting to 86. That's the old processor architecture. Or the old, all the kind of are all in 64-bit Windows these days. So I'm going to try 64-bit Windows and see what happens. I'll do a quick Unity. I don't know if maybe you should be building for 60 or 86. Just gonna take a quick minute. Looks like everyone's building for 32, but what you build? I use 64, never really looked into it. Yeah, I'm just gonna build for 64. Our Fubard, interesting. But no, looks fine. Well, we're not actually building for industry. We're just building for testing. So if I have to fall back on the 32-bit, then we'll just do that. But I'll give 64 a go. But anyway, you see how my whole lot. I don't know if you remember when I was talking about the assets in the library folder, and it's like all your assets are your workable game stuff, and your library needs to be built for each platform, and so that's what this is happening. So it's a pain to do, but somebody on that forum was just saying 64-bit builds for Windows out of Unity don't work well. So anyway, I'm already going through this process of converting 64, so we'll give it a go. And notice after we're done with the resources that was saying just making shaders, the shaders need to be kind of rebuilt per platform. And switching between 32-bit and 64-bit Windows, it does actually define a switching platform because all that process was part of that. But anyway, here we are. Now some additional settings. It's not a server, this stuff, no. But development build is if you want extra debugging coming through while you're testing your build, but there's an overhead to it, and I don't find that useful right now. So let's just go through the default stuff. Don't need that. Let's try a. Before I do build, I just want to show you that there is player settings here. And so The reason that, so this goes into your project settings, and there's many different project settings, and this just goes to the player. So the player is not the actual user, the player of a game. The player is the EXE, the actual player for the game. So a player like a platform player, the player of your build on whatever platform. So I noticed my effects ended up having a bit of different timing. I wanted to ask if I should just focus on the effects, as I said, or should I edit the things in the gun to make the timing more aligned? Well, you're down to, so this happens a lot in projects where things may have not gone 100% to what you thought, and you have to start making some decisions of what to do. Should I try to fix some bugs? Should I try to add more features? So what you do, what a common technique is to divide up your time. So you just notice that there's a bit of a bug, a visual bug, right? So you're saying that your effects are having a bit of a different timing than the actual damage. So should you work on fixing that, or should you try to I wanted to ask if I should focus on the effects, or should I edit the things on the gun to make the timing more aligned? So it sounds like you're saying, should I work on more effects, or should I try to fix this timing issue on a current effect? So I would spend some time trying to fix the timing. This is where you would divide up your time. So you still have like 2 days before you have to drop your build. So now's a good time to actually do your builds and see if things are working as expected. Do a Webgl build, do a Windows build. You might see that things appear differently on the different platforms. They just have different shader, different graphical capabilities. So if your stuff doesn't look good on WebGL, especially if you're getting shader errors. Errors are those like hot pink color. That means there's an error in the shader. And if you can't diagnose the problem, spend a little time diagnosing it. If not, then you got to fall back onto like a Windows build. So building now to make sure everything is actually working as in editor is important, because then you might have to make some quick decisions on how to fix stuff. So as far as this question about the effects on the gun, try to divide out your time. Figure out, okay, I'm going to spend X amount of time trying to fix the timing issue because it's really noticeable and it's going to pull the player out of the gaming experience. And if I can't solve it in 3 hours, you know what? I'm going to move over. I know that if I dedicate another 6 hours to more effects, that at least there'll be a lot more that's going on, so the timing issue won't be as noticed. So that's a common way to approach production problems. All right, so spend some time, figure out how much time you want to spend on fixing the timing issue, and then figure out how much time you want to move over to building something new. So under player settings, which is down here, we went to project settings, we went to player. You can you name your company, you can name your app. So product as in software product, name it. You can give version number as you keep making, improving, adding features. If you want to change the icon and the cursor, so the cursor is just this arrow. When it's used, when your game player is active, the window in Windows is active, the mouse cursor might take on a different appearance if you choose the cursor texture here. The icon, I think it's referring to the little icon, your software icon, like down here in my bar here, if you want to give it an icon besides just that default Unity icon. Now, settings for PC, Mac, and Linux standalone. over here is Android and WebGL. So right now we're building for PC, so I'm in this setting. Now, what some of the things we can do here, I'm just going to shrink everything up. It looks like this icon. So here, override for PC, Mac, and Linux. These are the different icon sizes. So you can search what default icon is and how it's different than this icon in here. But if you want to give an icon for your app. Resolution. So do you want it to be windowed or full screen? Our maximum window, our exclusive full screen, like you can't press the escape key and go into windowed mode. That's what these defaults to windowed at the lower HD resolution. Run in the background means when the user clicks on another window, is your window still, is your game still running, or should it like pause? Standalone player options. So resizable window is not turned on. If you want it to resize, you can turn it on, but you can see how that impacts your camera view into in the UI you have. You might not want to allow resizable, which is not on by default. And some other settings. It supports all these. Sure. So that's resolution, splash image. So when you start, virtual reality, we're not using it. But the splash screen. So that's what that like it fades up from black and it just has like the Unity icon. That's the default one. Show the Unity logo. So if you wanted to make your own custom splash screen when your game starts, you can mess with these settings. And what's the background color? Normally black is fine. Other settings you normally aren't going to get in here. So this is getting a little deeper, like these bundle identifiers are more for phone builds, but looks like for the Mac app as well. So we have a lot of graphic settings. Don't need to worry about this unless you're really trying to optimize your render pipeline. But if this stuff is foreign to you, just leave it alone. And scripting backend. So this is using C#.NET 4.x. And you used to be able to have to mess with this when their burst compiler came out and they have that new scripting features, but you can just leave the stuff alone. That's all advanced stuff that you're not going to get involved with. And yeah, you don't have to worry about any of this. All right. I'm just going to cover the PC stuff for now. We're not over in WebGL. So if you wanted to mess with some additional settings, that's where they would sit. So let's just build, unless there's any questions so far, just let me know. Normally what I do is I go to the root of the gaming project, which is where we are. I'll create a new folder. I'll call it build or builds. And I'll put the builds in here just so that they're easy to find. And we selected our folder. And now we're going to build. And I think the name of the file was either in player settings or up here it's I don't think it's the, we'll see what the name of the file comes out. I don't know if it's in player settings or if it's the name of the project. So I'm just going to let that build unless there's any questions. how do you go back to the level scene in Unity where you play test the micro games? We'll have to finish building, but in scenes over in scenes here, you have to select the main level, but I'll show you in a second. So build is complete. The build folder has opened up. Notice that there's a lot of files and folders. So right now I'm just building to one platform, Windows, but if you build into multiple, make sure you build it into separate folders because all of this needs to be zipped up. You can't just give this exe because it's referencing all these other files and folders. So what's important is that you take this whole thing and you're gonna, when you're ready to, you're gonna zip it up, and that's what you're gonna put up on Google Drive, and then people can download it and unzip it. All right, but let's give it a try. Let's see if our 64-bit build, that's a splash screen, and it's really loud for me. So far it's looking good. Okay. It's a windowed version. I can't resize it. And it's playing just like it did in the editor. And I can tell you that the sound was working. But you would play test the whole time. You, whatever it is, you loop around, go through the laps 3 times, what have you. Make sure everything works really well. It did. It built for 64-bit Windows completely fine. So if yours doesn't, you can fall back to 32-bit Windows. But I just confirmed this is all great. Zip this whole thing up, and I'm just going to put it on my NGIT's Google Drive folder. Right click on it. And share a link. So if you're not familiar with this whole process, this is my NJIT Google Drive. I can see here my webmail. If you already logged in personal, it can conflict to make sure you're in your NJIT one. And here this is where you get to drive. You have like unlimited storage, so it's great. Use it for your classes. Anyway, make a folder that's appropriate for the class, put the zip up, let it fully upload. And then what you do is you right click on the zip and you say share. And see this get, you can, it's already shared, it's already a link. But anyway, it'll say like, do you want to share a link? You don't need to add people because then you would have to like add the whole class. You just want to like get the link, you copy the link. By default, it's shared only with NJIT people, which, you know, it's not that big a deal. But somebody might click it and they might be logged into their personal Google account, not the NJIT account. So it might be annoying. So you might want to just, if you remember, make this available to anyone who has the link, and you copy the link and you can put it up into your posting. All right. So yeah, so if you go back to scenes, you want to go into the main scene. That's what this is. You're probably looking like this. It's probably looking like this to you. So this is the scene view. The scene view is where the developer works. Now, if you click over to the game view, this takes the main camera's view, and you can see what the player sees. Is that what you were asking? So go to scenes, get the main scene, click over to game view. I mean, yep.
The scene view, I got it back, but not seeing the level itself. Like all I'm seeing is like the UI and the basic background where it used to display like actual level where with enemies, but now
Sorry, you're the whole time you were chopping in and out. Can you just start over? I can't hear you right now. You just completely there's no audio coming through at all for you. I'll give you a minute. I'm going to switch build settings. You were chopping in and out. I heard you say something like there used to be enemies or something, or you only see the UI. But unfortunately, you're very choppy, and I can't hear your audio at all right now. So I'll give you some time to sort out your audio, and then try to chime back in on, and I can help you. Anyway, Windows worked. I went through the whole process of what you need to do. Is there any question on Windows? All right, WebGL, new platform. So switch platform. It's going to have to rebuild the library. We're moving over to but all the build scenes stay the same. We're just going to have to look at the player settings for WebGL. You could try your audio again, see if it works. All right, WebGL build successfully switched. Don't need to worry about development build, but if you do wish to debug in your build and not your editor, you can turn that on and your debug statements will come through. Player settings. All this stuff is the same. Notice this is switched over to WebGL. No icons for this platform. Resolution. So default canvas 960 by 600. I leave that unless it doesn't look right. You can change it. Put it in the background. Sure. Splash image and splash screen, all the same stuff. Other settings, so all the graphics. WebG, the only thing is the graphic API switch from like Vulkan to WebGL 1.0. That's all the same. You don't need to get involved in any of that. Publishing. Yeah, it's fine. The only thing I update is really like your company name. So the product name comes from your project, micro games, carding. Yeah, and that was the name that I put there. So if you want to switch that for Windows or WebGL, you'd switch it here. Check there's no player settings to mess around with. So I'm just going to build. I'm going to go to, I'm just going to create another folder because this is going to say build WebGL. And we're going to build. And while we're building, I look over here, the scene view, but I'm only seeing the HUD and UI, not the actual level. So you're saying that you're in the scene view, but you used to see a lot more stuff. Right now, you just see the UI. Well, I'm gonna have to. Well, while I'm building this, I'm gonna ask you to let's see if okay. I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'm going to make you the presenter. You can accept the presenter privileges, and then go to the share button will be active, and then you can share your screen, and we can see what your Unity is looking like. So what you want to do is click the yes, I want to share, and then click the share button. Yep. All right. So on your left-hand side in the hierarchy, let's go all the way to the top. Yeah, perfect. So let's click on say enemy turret. I'm just trying to find something. Press the F key. So move your mouse over to the scene view, and then press F. So there, now we zoomed in. So zoom out a little bit, see if more of the levels are. Yep, the levels there. You were just really zoomed out. The UI is really, if you keep zooming out, just keep zooming out, keep zooming out, keep zooming out. Notice how big the UI is. Keep zooming out, keep zooming out. So see the game level is super small, and you see it there. So when the UI is in screen mode, it's not in the world space. It's not like it shares the same space as your game mode. It's really zoomed out to the far to the right, so that it's not rendered in your game modes. Right? And make myself presenter. Share my screen. I'm still building. All right. So is there any other questions? Because class is winding down. I'm getting toward the end of my presentation, and our time's running out. So what I will recommend is that pick, oh, while it's building, I'll go over to what the plot, you need to host it somewhere in the WebGL. So I just use this, I just found this itch.io. It's a good platform for hosting games, and it supports Unity WebGL really nicely. So I just use it. You can use something else, but ultimately what you want to get to is I'll show one of my games. So Sprint 4 in my IT286 class project looks like this. This is what Webgl Build looks like running through the web browser. Yes, you can use assets from other games. You just need to state that in your deliverable posting. I got these assets from the asset store. I got them from Sketchfab, whatever. Or I made this, but all my inspiration is from this concept artist. You just need to state what you did and what you didn't do. So this is an interactable build coming from Unity, and it's hosted on WebGL. Ultimately, you need to get your WebGL to this state. See up here, it says published, public. And you just take this link and copy it and paste it into your Canvas poster. This is where we need to get to with the WebGL process, right? So still building. And let me know if there's any questions, because I'll be done after I show Webgl. And so I need to answer questions now while it's building. So what you can think about as you wind down into this Friday is whatever you're currently at, do a build. Make sure everything is running as expected in the build so that you can safely wipe the sweat off your brows and say, okay, at least where I'm currently at, it actually works correctly. Now everything else I do at this point on into Friday is extra, it's gravy. And then think about where you are and think about where you can get your biggest bang for your buck. Where can you put the remainder of your time to really improve? Should you be polishing something to really make it shine? Should you be adding? So should you stop where you're at? And you can actually show off more if you build something else out really quickly, a companion component or something additional to really make the feature show off better these next 2 days. Really put a plan in to wrap up. You could start writing your posting so that you get some of that work out of the way. But make sure the thing builds, make sure you have a plan to wrap up your work, make sure you know what you're going to write for your deliverable. Make sure you download all these pieces of software and test them out so that this isn't like Friday at 1:50 in class and you unmute and you say, I can't deliver. Because you should have tested these little aspects out of your deliverable pipeline well before 30 minutes before the actual deadline is due. All right. So part of this build had some JavaScript. So yes, I allow access. Looks like we're done. So I go into the folder. So it looks like this. They have a few new little files than there used to be, but folders and files zip the whole thing up. So this index is the entry point, just like the exe file. So I can test it locally. I think it'll still run. Sometimes you get some security issues, but yeah, it's always good to, the first step is to test locally so you don't go through this whole process of zipping and uploading before you test and see that there's a problem. So this loading bar should start up. There's probably like security thing. So I'll try it. See if I have anything else to try then. Usually Firefox is a good browser to test it. So I'm just going back to Unity. Yeah, everything built. We're not running locally, but again, it could just be like some security things. I take everything and let's see, I'm going to zip it up and go to itch.io, upload new project, like 286 test. So whatever title you put in here, notice that becomes your URL. You can put a cover image, description if you want, but it is a HTML project. So upload a zip of your game. Sure, let's do that. I just drag it in, or do I have to use this? So I could just copy and paste this location to here. Here's my zip. All right, this file will be played in the browser. And embed auto detect the size from Unity. That's at canvas setting 960 by 600. It should just be automatically checked. Mobile friendly note. It will run, but it'll be like, oh, weird. I don't want it to. I just rather on cell phone just say we can't run this. So not recommended for Unity games, sure. Full screen button. I think it's already. Sure, click that. And what you want is you can disable comments if you want. But notice how you can't do it public just yet. So we'll save it. And notice up here, draft. No dimensions are detected. Okay, so they weren't automatically detected. They must have, that feature doesn't work. So let's see, edit, I can go back to edit game. Okay, all my stuff is still here. So it said this couldn't be read, so I'll just set it manually. It's 960, 600. Save. So let's view the page. Let's run it. Okay, loading bar loading up. That's great. Splash screen and game. All right, and it runs. Good. So I noticed that the top and the bottom are cut a little bit, so you can edit the dimensions to see if you can get that to work. But here's the full screen button. That's fine. So it works. Now what's important is that everything works. I'll go back to edit game. And I can make it public now. Save. Go back to view. Now notice it says published, and then now the link is good to share. So if you shared it previously in that draft, nobody can view it. So you gotta make sure it's published, or at least there's like a secret URL under the draft mode, and that's a secret that you can share. But then that's another step, and you have to understand that you can't use this link, you gotta use the secret link. So it's just easier to say published, share the link, and just disable comments, and you won't get any trolls. But honestly, there's not really a lot of trolls on this site. It's not a lot of people at all. And then there's the link that you post up. All right. Does that process make sense? Okay. So you're free to go. And once you all leave, I'll kill this session so I can make the video for this lecture. Sure.
Oh,
Yep. Have a good
I
one.
forgot to ask. I forgot to ask real quick. Really, it's just so basically, right on the micro game, right? I ended up adding what's the name, HDR to it, kind of like the hybrid pipeline, so I could like do some of the After Effects that I wanted to do, the shaders and all of that. I was gonna say if that's fine.
If it were, sure.
Okay,
If it's working for you, then just document it in your posting, what you actually did, and do it.
okay.
Yeah, it's for you to make your goals.
Okay. Uh, that's basically the okay. Have a nice day.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Just write out what you made and how you made it in your project
Okay.
description. All right.
Do I need to be like super detailed, or should I just say like, okay, I made a blender, a what's the name, a blender cylinder
Yeah, you
for
can.
this
I
part.
use Blender to make this. Here's a screenshot in Blender. I did this in Unity. Here's a screenshot. Like, you just explain it.
Yeah.
Explain it
Okay,
to anyone
okay,
else that has your level of knowledge. Like, if you can explain
okay.
it document it to yourself, essentially, at your
Yeah.
level of understanding.
Okay, then it should be fine. It's just like I think I'm only gonna be able to like finish one of the what's the name, the explosion effects, uh, because of all the documentation, all of that extra. But like it looks good for now. What it's in, I still need to fix the the damage thing. But aside from that, my backup plan should be working fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So plan out
Yeah,
for the next 2 days, deliver something, and describe what you delivered.
yeah, okay. I'm just checking something real quick. Can I just show you something on my screen real quick? Just for the name.
Okay.
It's not like real quick. I just want to show like does this work like as an sort of like an explanation of how I did the how I started doing the VFX for for the stuff.
So yeah, this shows your design process of the
Yeah.
stages of your VFX. Then I just need some screenshots of how it's all these parts in Unity. But
Okay.
yeah, this is great for design process. Yeah.
Yeah, and over here is one of the effects that I did. Let me just open it up. I just did it on like a different place, so it like because it was lagging a bit on the other stuff. Uh, Here's like the for one of the effects. Yeah. Okay,
I don't
I
see
messed it up.
anything.
Oh, all right. I forgot. I'm not sharing my actual like thing. I was just sharing Clip Studio. Give me a second.
Mhm.
Let's see. Yeah, so on a different Unity thing because I wanted to like kind of like check the stuff over, right? So basically, this one I ended up doing for one of the effects.
Cool.
I'm gonna implement that into the actual thing, and then I should be working. I
Sure.
also have some other stuff that I was just practicing on, like this thing. What's the name?
Yeah, but you take screenshots of this stuff or little
Yeah.
video, or just do a UV like a screen capture video. These VFX running as you're explaining them.
Okay, so I was gonna ask that if I could just if I could just like on the part of like the video just like show some of the effects that I was doing.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the point of the walkthrough video.
Yeah. Okay, because like some of these effects are not gonna be in the actual thing. Uh, I didn't know if like I should
You can show them off,
yeah, okay.
but like at least you showed the progress. But if they don't make them into your project, and they're not really that part of your deliverable grade.
Okay. Okay. Uh, well that's it. Have a nice day, and I'm actually gonna close it this time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
good luck for Friday.